alien intelligences. That just follows from the recursive trace logic. It's infinite. So our headset gives us a very, very, very tiny peek at this. And I mentioned earlier, I think our headset is one of the more trivial ones. So I think that we're not near the top of the food chain. We're near the bottom of the food chain, as far as I can tell, in terms of the headset and its accessibility. So I think that there's the chance of alien intelligences that are greater than ours is one, and I think that there's an infinite variety of them. And I think that the recursive trace logic gives us a mathematical framework to begin to understand exactly how our space-time headset is built, how it can be hacked, how a higher headset. Now that we have the mathematics, even though we're stuck in a headset, a 3D headset, we're not stuck conceptually. We can, with mathematics, design we can actually show how the recursive trace logic can build our 3-space 1-time dimension headset. We can then build higher and higher dimensional ones, and we can ask how someone who had those headsets could play with our headset. We're in the position to actually understand how higher intelligences could play with us.
What if the most dangerous thing you could ever do on this planet is solve the energy crisis? Right now, a massive firestorm is tearing through X, tearing through the internet over this bombshell claim regarding brilliant anti-gravity researcher, Dr. Amy Eskridge. And the official story says she passed away tragically in 2022, but an explosive new, supposedly eyewitness account published by Dr. Michael Salla claims she isn't dead at all. Instead, she's allegedly being held as a captive asset and forced to run this black budget aerospace program deep beneath Green Mountain, Alabama. A lot of people are pissed that he made this claim because Amy Eskridge is a touchy subject to me as well. But Michael Salla made this claim. Now, I don't know if that's the case. I would love for her to be alive. But it sounds like pure science fiction. But what if I told you the legal infrastructure to corporate lock human genius has been active since 1951? And this is because of the Invention Secrecy Act. The government has suppressed over 6,000 patents. Inventors who figured out how to run cars on gas fumes or split water for fuel, they didn't just lose their blueprints. They usually met tragic, highly suspicious ends. But who's actually pulling the strings? Who intercepts this world-altering technology every single time somebody seems to break it before it reaches the public? And that's kind of what we're looking into. We're going to watch some clips. I got the Lou Elizondo clip and, kind of discussing the reality of retrieval programs and the imminent pressure of disclosure, how society's going to have to react. And former intelligence officer Lou Elizondo knows exactly what's coming. That's why he wrote that book, Imminent, right? Because the paradigm is fracturing. Society is about to face an undeniable reality of disclosure. And humanity is entirely unprepared for the implications. So tonight we expose the secret architecture of the cover-up. Everything from the CIA's hidden retrieval wing, the Office of Global Access, to the missing scientists rewriting the laws of physics. So buckle in, because we're touching the third rail. It's going to be an awesome episode. All right, we got to watch this because you guys know I cover Amy Eskridge a lot. And this is Josh from Polarity, and he's talking about a post that Michael Salla put out on X, basically saying that she did not die in 2022, and that next week he will publicly release details that Amy actually faked her death, and is now in contact with a reliable source that he has known for several years, who has shared stunning info about her current anti-gravity research at a secret research facility. And now he will share more details in his webinar. A lot of people are pissed about this. But listen, man, I often wondered about Major General William McCaslin, these other researchers who went missing, and I often said, like, is it possible that they went into like a secret, um, kind of like a witness protection program to further this research in secret out of the public eye and away from the eyes of foreign adversaries? But let's see what Josh has to say about this.
This is something that happened while I was at Contact in the Desert. Okay. Now, a lot of you guys might have seen this, and a lot of people were upset about this, and I completely get that. This is kind of wild, right? So, Dr. Michael Salla, he's actually an Australian guy who lives in Florida, I believe, and he has done a lot of early work in the UFO conversation around exopolitics, which I actually find really interesting because a lot of his arguments are things that I've kind of, come to my own conclusions about and agree with, which is the idea of exopolitics, which is the fact that modern day politics is at some point up the rung influenced by a non-human intelligence. Okay, I believe that. I really do. And Michael Salla went to university in Australia studying like international relations and politics, and so through his academic background he came to a similar conclusion as well, right? But this is like 20 years ago, so this guy's been in the game for a long time. He's got a YouTube channel. He posts on there pretty regularly. You can go check it out if you want to. However, in the last week, he came out with a pretty wild statement, and it upset a lot of people, right? So this is what he said. Antigravity researcher Amy Eskridge did not die in 2022. Next week, I will publicly release details that Amy faked her death and is now in contact with a reliable source I've known for several years who has shared stunning info about her current anti-gravity research at a secret research facility. I will share more details in my webinar today. So this is like wild claims, right? I don't watch a whole lot of Dr. Salla's content, although he's the kind of YouTube channel that like, if I'm like trying to go to sleep and I want to just put on something like kind of wild and out there that'll stretch my imagination, like I might throw on one of his videos, right? Because, we sort of center our discussion, I would say, around the fringes of like government disclosure and, human dormant human abilities, human potential, consciousness, and sort of like citizen-led disclosure is the main kind of things that I like to base my conversation around. He's like 7 steps ahead, and he talks about like, the intergalactic Lyran War, Elena Danaan going to Neptune on the weekend and coming back, and it's like very out there. It's a few more steps beyond. Okay, now I can't prove he's wrong, so I'm not going to say he's wrong. However, I feel like I would rather get disclosure in a more linear fashion. Like, let's just get confirmation of like the UFOs first, and then maybe we can talk about going to Neptune for the weekend and the intergalactic Lyran War. Okay, just like one thing at a time for me personally. This is a big statement, and it's obviously upset a lot of people. I think if you are going to say something like this,
you better
about
have
someone
some kind of
who's a bit of a hot topic, I guess, especially with scientists disappearing.
Sorry.
If you're going to say that you know that someone's faked their death, I think you have to bring receipts. You absolutely have to bring receipts.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a bit of a credibility rocker. I would say, you can't really say stuff like this without backing it up. Now, what's interesting is he said that he was going to give more details on this in his webinar, and we can pull this up here. So the webinar's already happened. I haven't watched it, but this is the thing here. Hopefully you guys can see it. Yeah, you guys can see it. So this happened on the 30th of May, right? And if you scroll down to the bottom, we're not going to read it, but if you scroll down to the bottom, it costs $55. Okay, you guys can see that here. Now, that is going to have steam coming out of people's ears. I mean, the post itself already did. I mean, he was copying absolute pelters from people just for posting this, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with. Like, just because it's an outlandish statement, for sure. But he's basically saying, I've got proof and I'm going to show you. But people were jumping down his throat and basically attacking him for it, as people
But look, right, and this is my thing. You say something like, especially about Amy, dude, like that. That's a touchy freaking subject for me. Is that whole her story really, really bothers me. And I've read Michael Salla's books. There was one, and he's into this idea that the the Nazis didn't really lose. I shouldn't even have said that word on YouTube, but they didn't lose World War II, that they fled to Antarctica and that there's this base down there. And basically, they're down there with like these Nordics and they have this base and this, and that a lot of these guys escaped Germany and went there and they set up shop in that Operation High Jump led by Admiral Byrd, and I think 1946 or 47 was like a campaign to go down there to try to root them out, but that we got our asses handed to us by these NHI craft UFOs and stuff. And there's some evidence Operation High Jump was a real mission. They did go to Antarctica, Admiral Byrd, and they did come back early. We lost ships, we lost planes, we lost soldiers in that operation. So something happened down there. Now, is it what Michael Salla said it was, or was it just, did they succumb to the brutal weather and temperatures and the ice and snow down there? I don't know, but Michael Salla claims that you know this Antarctic base exists. And it's funny because Tom DeLonge and Peter Levenda in Secret Machines kind of wrote about it. And and the deeper I go in my research, the farther I get into this idea of like a breakaway civilization that has this super advanced technology, and that anybody that comes close to discovering this on their own, they get eliminated. Could it be that there's some type of secret cabal that's hoarding this tech and keeping it secret from the rest of us? And, are we influenced by non-human intelligence? I just wanted you guys to see that clip. Shout out to Josh from Polarity. He's awesome, man. Um, and, like it or not, secretly, he's a big influence on my channel. And I've been watching him since the beginning. So seeing his channel grow like that is just it's a hope shot for me. So I just wanted to show you guys that, man. You know, Amy Eskridge, rest in peace. She passed in 2022, and they said it was an alleged self-unaliving. I don't believe that, but you're entitled to believe what you want. But supposedly this guy, Michael Salla, and he's a professor, man. He was at universities. And his. All right, I want you guys to check this out. It's a this is Skywatchers Hub on TikTok, and you guys got to check this video out, man. It's Lou Elizondo.
We are in possession of these crafts. What are we doing with them?
Yeah, Jesse, thanks for having me. I did testify in 2024 in November for the record and under oath that our government is in possession of material, exotic material that is not ours and possibly originates from somewhere else. And then I was also followed by other folks as well in later testimony who have discussed non-biological remains that were biological remains, non-human biological remains that were retrieved from some of these crashes.
So when you, I guess, were speaking to these people that talked about non-human biological remains, what did they describe?
You don't even know what to say.
Well, Jesse, to be honest with you, when I was at the Pentagon and I was part of the Pentagon's UFO investigation team called ATIP, I was more of a nuts and bolts guy. We did have experts, scientists, and medical doctors that were looking into the biologic aspects. And by the way, this goes way back, way before my time even. We're talking literally the late 1940s. And if you look at this latest document drop and video drop that this administration has authorized for release, there is an absolute treasure trove of information contained in this second tranche of information.
Well, what do you think? What stands out to you?
Oh my gosh, Jesse, how much time do you have? I mean, we could be here all
if you read the files, right? Just and that's the thing. People don't read. People don't read. You know, especially like TikTok audiences. They just scroll. They just want to see videos. They want to see quick sound bites. They don't read. If you actually read those files and the things that are in them from the 40s and 50s, it's mind blowing. Um, just crazy, you know. So I don't know, but this is Lou Elizondo on Fox News. Shout out to Skywatchers Hub for putting this up on TikTok. I usually don't even do TikTok videos, but tonight we're just freestyling, guys.
All day. The reality is that this is a topic that our government has been taking very seriously for a very long time, would go to extreme lengths to try to cover it up. And this administration means business. This administration is the first administration in my memory that's actually delivering on a promise to be more transparent and open with the American public about this topic. Look, this document, this last document tranche that was released, you had documents going back to the late 1940s demonstrating very clearly that the UAP, or what was known in the vernacular, the UFO phenomenon, is very real, and it is certainly a national security issue. These things have been encountered over controlled U.S. airspace, and frankly can outmaneuver anything that we had and still have in our inventory.
Crazy, man. So this is a document that was declassified. Anyway, the Black Vault is a treasure trove of these documents, documents that aren't released yet. That basically, this guy's name's John Greenwald, and he FOIAs he just hits the government with mass amounts of FOIA requests, which is Freedom of Information Act, and he gets a hold of these documents. Now, this one here is for electric propulsion study, right? And this right here was from August of 1990, but it's from September of 1988 to November of 1989. Astronautics Laboratory, Air Force Space Technology Center, Space Systems Divisions, Air Force Systems Command. This is Edwards Air Force Base. They were doing research into electric propulsion, basically electromagnetic propulsion. And this document basically discusses the limitations of rockets and rocket fuel and space travel. And this was over 40 years ago. And we're seeing that they were definitely working. See, here's the Black Vault. This is John Greenwald, discovered the truth. So make sure you guys check this site out. Shout out to him. I'll leave a link in the description for this. But here's the report documenting that, look, man, they were working on this. And it's my belief that they cracked a lot of these advanced technologies. And that, you know, just let's look at the table of contents, right? It's a highly technical document, kind of hard to read, but I did read it, and it gets into like force fields and like fifth dimension, and like, look, Lorentz forces in 5D and wave propagation in 5 space, like, you know, really deep and super advanced technologies. And I want to go further into this because you see this vacuum fluctuations, quantum considerations. So even back then, they were trying to tap into this field, this vacuum 0 point energy field. And look, it's my belief that they accomplished this, and it's my belief that they're withholding this from us. But you see here, look, compatibility of 10D string theories, Mach's principle, Rosen's biometric theory, and then let's go further. Bifield Brown effects. Now, this is Thomas Townsend Brown, and he was basically, I would say, the godfather of anti-gravity technology. He was doing this back in the 30s and 40s, and Jesse Michaels does a great series about Thomas Townsend Brown and how, you know, they try to wave this anti-gravity technology off and say, oh, it's just all conspiracy theory. But in the meantime, Thomas Townsend Brown showed that he created effects, anti-gravitic effects, and it got sucked into the black world. It got classified and hidden from us. And this is the stuff that Amy Eskridge was researching, and this was what she was trying to bring to us, you know, to get us free energy, man. 0 point energy is what this is. I'm just trying to show you that it was real, and they're taking these great minds from us and eliminating them, and they're doing it, and it's a shame. And so I'm trying to bring this out to people, get more people awake, man. This is a document from the Air Force. You can see, look, 4 of these claims seem to be interesting enough to examine. T.T. Brown's propulsive forces developed from an asymmetric capacitor charged with high potentials. They're talking about anti-gravity. I just wanted to share this with you guys. And maybe, I don't know, this guy, Michael Salla, saying that Amy Eskridge is alive, that she faked her death, and that she's working on top secret projects for the government. A lot of people are really pissed that he made this claim, and he's charging $55 for the seminar, saying that he has proof. I don't know, but it's a touchy subject for me, But man, I really hope that that's it. That is the case. I would love to find out that she was still alive, man, because she was such a great, brilliant mind, and it's just such a sad story, and the things that she suffered with the directed energy attacks, and she had burns on her hands. I don't know if you guys watched those episodes I did on Amy Eskridge, but she was a brilliant mind from the University of Alabama, Huntsville. And for those of you who don't know, Huntsville, Alabama is Rocket City. That's where basically Operation Paperclip happened. We took Nazi scientists there, and they basically, that was the beginning of our space program. And, people like Warner von Braun and others, Oppenheimer, we went over and we scooped them and brought them over here. Well, she is from that, that place. And she was a multidisciplinarian with, nanotechnology, electrical engineering. She was very, very smart. She was working on this stuff, and she claimed that she had cracked it, and she was trying to give it to the world. She was trying to share her findings with the world, and she was tragically lost in 2022. They said that she shot herself on her front porch right after she gave a presentation to NASA. Now, he's coming out and making this claim, Michael Solis, that she's still alive and that she faked her death. Is it possible that she gave that presentation to NASA and they said, look, we need you to work in secret for us, and this whole thing, and her dad is like always saying, oh, it was nothing, nobody, it was a self-unaliving, it was a tragic incident, nobody did anything, it wasn't crooked, because a lot of people like Frank Milburn, who's a good friend of hers, said that she was basically, they took her out because of her work on free energy. And, is it possible? I don't know. I'm rambling. I just wanted to touch on this just to show you guys that this is real, right? Look, several Byfield Brown studies are now underway. So this is in 1988. They were very close to cracking it. I think they did. But we also have to look at what the other thing we're going to look at tonight is the Office of Global Access, the OGA. And like people who report on the OGA, man, sometimes the articles go missing. But if scientists like Amy are being routed into hidden aerospace apparatus deep underground, how does that pipeline actually work? Well, it turns out we have a blueprint. So I want you guys to look at this, right? I got these documents, I got these photos of anyway, the Daily Mail, Matt Ford and Josh Boswell kind of put this out, and I found it really interesting because they said it got taken down and then it got put back up. And it was in late 2023, like a massive investigative report leaked in the Daily Mail exposing a hyper secret wing of the CIA known as the Office of Global Access, or OGA. Officially, they recovered downed satellites, but top-tier intelligence insiders have revealed their true mission. What do you think it is? It's acting as the global nerve center for retrieving crashed or landed non-human craft. And look at the photos of the people, right, who have run these directorates. They coordinate the physical asset grab, right? But they don't keep the tech in military hands. And this is where it gets slick, right? They immediately hand it off to these private aerospace contractors. Why? Well, because private corporations can hide this technology forever under proprietary trade secrets, safe from Congress, safe from FOIA requests, hidden from the eyes of everybody. And a lot of times it's our own taxpayer dollars that's going into the technologies that they crack. And then sometimes we never see it. And if you don't think they're terrified of this office being exposed, consider this. So shortly after the bombshell article broke, Daily Mail completely scrubbed the article from the internet. Why? They later claimed an automated SEO robot accidentally deleted it before bringing it back up. But investigative journalists aren't buying it. The system panicked because the curtains were pulled back on the OGA. I mean, just look at these documents and photos. This one document explicitly talks about non-human technology and non-human biologics. It's crazy. But the government doesn't just crash snatch exotic tech from the skies. They legally see civilian genius right here on the ground. Under the 1951 Invention Secrecy Act, if you build something that threatens national security, right? Or more accurately, threatens the petrodollar and the global energy monopoly, right? If you threaten that, the patent office slaps a secrecy order on it, and you are barred from selling it, talking about it, or even using your own invention. And this is like serious. Under the penalty of federal prison, like you'll go to prison. And they've done this to 6,000 patents. 6,000 patents they've done this to. They just took it. The system is totally flawed. Just ask the geniuses who tried to bypass the system. In the late 1970s, a mechanic named Tom Ogle invented a pressurized fuel system, and it ran a V8 engine entirely on gas fumes, achieving over like 200 miles per gallon. By 1981, his patents were gone, and he died under highly suspicious circumstances. Look at Stanley Meyer, who built a water-powered fuel cell using resonant frequencies to split water molecules like hydrogen from oxygen. And in 1998, after meeting with mysterious investors, he ran out of this restaurant, screamed to his brother-in-law or his brother, "They poisoned me," and he died in the parking lot. The message from this invisible hand is clear: comply, disappear, or be reclaimed. And it happens repeatedly over history. And we're seeing it happen today. We're seeing it happen with the scientists, the researchers, the whistleblowers who are disappearing and dying under mysterious circumstances. We're seeing it today. The system, or whoever these people are really fighting hard to keep this secret. And this isn't just history anymore. The pipeline from the CIA's Office of Global Access to private aerospace monopolies is beginning to leak from every corner, right? People are starting to notice. And the intense backlash we are seeing on X over Amy Eskridge proves that the public's patience has completely evaporated, right? As whistleblowers like Lou Elizondo continue to push the line, right? Society is rapidly approaching a cliff. We aren't just talking about confirming, are there UFOs? Are there non-human intelligence? Are we not alone? We're talking about admitting that free energy, anti-gravity propulsion, and revolutionary medical sciences have been locked in corporate vaults for generations. All while humanity suffered and struggled. Disclosure isn't a single event. It is a coming cultural tsunami, and the legal corporate walls holding it back are about to snap. The question isn't whether they can keep the secret, because they can't keep the secret anymore. The question now is, what happens to society the day the world finds out who took it from us? And you see, there's talk about amnesty. There's talking about giving these people amnesty. Eric Burleson's talking about having like a 60-day window where people can come forward and talk about what they did and get amnesty. I think it's bullshit. But let me know your thoughts about Michael Salla, the controversy. Is Amy Eskridge alive? Hit me up in the comments below. Stay sharp. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey, please like, subscribe, share it to a friend, share it to 2 friends. And I love you guys, man. See you tomorrow. Peace.